how to take up business as a job. There's 9 to 5 jobs. How do you handle the conflict between people?
I'd say, depending on what the conflict is, handle it with a like a cool mindset, a cool head. There's no point getting frustrated about it.
Handle it, take peer pressure in a positive way.
It's just good to have healthy competition because that's what pushes us to do a little better than you normally would. We burnt 1.5 crore in the first year because we didn't know how to run things. We burnt a lot of money and I didn't know what I was going to do. 1 year into the business, all the money my parents gave, we didn't know where it was. We scaled up too fast without building the requisite structure in the company.
Sachin, what we are trying to do here is we are trying to just videos for a 20-year-old or people in the age bracket of 15 to 20 who want to start their own business, or they have someone, their father is doing a business, or they have a business in their family. If they are going to take up to it, they are going to take up the business. What they have to do, how they have to grow up for it. It's a big task, right? And a big shoes to fill.
Absolutely.
So this video is going to talk about that. How to handle conflicts, how to take up business as a job. There's 9 to 5 jobs. You get trained on how to do that. How to run a business. 24/7 you have to be there for it. And how to handle conflicts. You get conflicts, a lot of troubles. And then how to balance work life and your personal life.
Okay.
So lot is there.
Yes.
We will slowly get into it. So let's start with your basic,
Yes.
about your childhood. Okay, so
Okay.
what you have to, who was your childhood?
Okay. So very honestly, I had an amazing childhood. I wouldn't complain about anything. I grew up in Salem, and I studied in a school called Emerald Valley,
Okay.
which is run by Meena Setu, who is also my mommy.
Okay.
She's instilled a lot of good qualities in me from when I was a kid. And I think the school, the town I grew up in, my parents, everyone have like they all play a very important role in who I am today, and I'm very grateful to all of them. That being said, I think from when I was very young, my parents have given me a lot of freedom. They've never told me do this, do that, or pick this, pick that. They've always trusted me and let me do whatever I wanted to do, never restricted me, and they've supported me in everything that I did. They've always supported me in whichever way they possibly could. So yeah, I had a really fun childhood.
Basically you had supportive parents, and then the school was owned by your mommy.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I have two older sisters
Okay.
who are also very, very supportive, and they've been like they guide me. If I do like something wrong, or if I'm possibly headed in the wrong direction, they nudge me and say, "Hey, why don't you maybe think about this?" For example, I was deciding between joining Loyola for my undergraduation and then SRCC in Delhi, which is where I ended up studying. So I joined Loyola, did the entire admission process and all of that. And then my sister Bhuvana called me and she said, what are you doing? If you stay in Chennai, you'll continue to be in your comfort zone. You should at least go explore Delhi, see the college. And if you get in there, then take a call as to whether if you want to study in Chennai or Delhi. And I think that like totally changed my life. Going to Delhi like changed so many things for me. So I've always had some people
Who
pushed me in the right direction.
So we had a better structure to go around with.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
But they allowed you to, experiment. Do what your heart says and all something.
Yes. I've always
They
had
didn't.
the freedom to experiment with whatever I want to
They
do.
didn't put a cap on anything or a box. They allowed you to define yourself.
Yeah, I think very honestly, there is a lot of emphasis these days on letting kids do what they want to do and not asking them to become a doctor, engineer, chartered accountant, get into some profession or the family business. But I think there are some areas where the kids or children these days, people, youngsters who feel obligated to take over the family business or who feel guilty if they do something else. And there's also a pressure to live up to certain expectations. If your a father or someone in your family does something super successfully, and then from day one, if you're doing something else, there's that pressure on you to match up to that expectations. I think maybe parents have become more aware of it, but if they can be a little more mindful about it and let the individual do what they want to do, I think that would really like help one succeed.
So you wouldn't let the peer pressure come to you. That was
Yeah, there wasn't any peer pressure to be honest, at least until I joined SRCC. SRCC is a very competitive environment. All like intelligent kids from across India come study there. And then you look at your friends and say, one will be preparing for UPSC, one will be doing CFA, another's already interning with like a McKinsey, Bain, BPG. And then you sit there wondering, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Will I even be successful? That kind of peer pressure came into
There.
my life in SRCC. But I think each of us need to figure out our own ways. Like for example, I joined JLL. I was getting like a lakh in salary to begin with. At the same time, my friend joined another company called EY Parthenon, and he was earning like 36 lakhs a year, which was like 3 lakhs, three times the money I was making. At that point, I was thinking, oh, I'm probably not as successful and all of that. But today, we make pretty much the same amount of money, or maybe I make a little more than what he does. Um, so it's okay if you're a little behind your friends at some point in life. Doesn't mean that's how it's going to continue to be even in the future. You will take your own time to get to where you need to get to.
In the current scenario, you've got competitive exams coming up.
Right.
Like 10 lakh students are fighting for 1,000 seats in the IITs, something like that.
Right.
They start to see their friends as a competition and something.
Right.
So it becomes in a very hostile
Absolutely.
environment. So
Right.
how to handle it? Take peer pressure in a positive way or set it up as a benchmark.
Yeah, so I think the whole concept of peer pressure and all of that sort of starts to subside as you get older. But for younger kids, it is good to have healthy competition because that's what pushes us to do a little better than we normally would. But it's also important to know where to draw the line. So I'd probably say don't do anything which you normally wouldn't because someone else is doing it. Like if you don't like studying for like an IIT, you don't even want to get into an IIT, but just because your classmates are preparing for JEE, then you definitely shouldn't because it's so much like work. It's so hectic, and then you after like a couple years doing all of that slogging, you realize, oh, this is not even something that I like because that's what it was for me when I prepared for GMAT when I was in college. Just because my friends signed up for GMAT exams, I also went, signed up, tried to study instead of going and like hanging out with friends and enjoying college. I used to go attend classes, GMAT classes in the evening, but then 3 months into it, I realized maybe I can take some more time. I don't want to prepare for GMAT now and get back to having fun. So I'd say if it's something you like and there's competition in that field, it's okay, it's good. But just because of that peer pressure, don't ever sign up for something you don't like or you're not sure about. Be a little sure about whatever you get into, especially if it's a longer commitment.
இப்போ சின்ன வயசுல இருக்கப்ப ஆஸ் அ கிட் என்ன ஒரு ஆம்பிஷன் இல்லை பேஷன் ஒரு விஷயம் பிடிக்கும் நான் இந்த மாதிரி ஆகணும் அப்படின்னு நினைச்சிருந்தீங்கன்னா என்ன ஒரு விஷயம் சொல்லுங்க.
Okay, so Chinna is like keep telling everyone I meet I want to become the world's richest person in it.
Okay.
And Bill Gates used to be the role model then, and he was the richest person for a really long time before like Jeff Bezos and other people like took that spot. And I used to have a chart, like a vision board prepared in the bedroom, and then I bring people inside the room, and then I'll show them, look at this. This is a vision board that I made, and I want to become the world's richest person. So that was my ambition as a kid.
Okay. So it was quite an interesting one. Huh?
Yes, yeah. I mean, so I think the um, underlying idea was that I wanted to become an entrepreneur, a business owner, a big one. Yeah,
Okay.
yes.
So as the childhood conversation is done, we'll move on to the next phase
Sure.
about college and teenage years.
Mhm.
I feel it is the confused state a person could be in. You're always clouded. Yeah. அடுத்து நம்ம என்ன பண்ண போறோம் இல்ல நம்ம வந்து ஒரு 4 இயர்ஸ் 6 இயர்ஸ்ல நம்ம வந்து எங்க இருக்க போறோம்னு ஒரு ஐடியா இருக்காது.
Yeah,
நம்ம ஒரு எய்மோ ஒரு கோலை வச்சிருக்கலாம்.
yeah.
பட் ஆனா அதை அச்சீவ் பண்ணுவோமா ஒரு செல்ஃப் டவுட் கண்டிப்பா இருக்கும். நீங்க எப்படி ஹேண்டில் பண்ணீங்க? ஹவு யூ வெண்ட் வித் இட்?
So, one good thing for me is whatever I pick, I always back myself up to achieve that because I'm a very like a quick decision maker. I don't sit and deliberate too much, or very honestly, I don't even do a lot of research before getting into something, which I don't recommend to people. But I'm more of a head first. I get into it and then I figure stuff out. So that's how I've operated all my life. I did get into something and then I figure out how exactly you become better at it and then go about it. So I would say college and all was again there were so many opportunities for me when I was in Delhi. I could have very well been in investment banking now, or been a management consultant, or I could have gone to the US to do my MBA and then settle down there. For a very long time, that was my plan. Like finish undergraduation, work somewhere for a couple years, do your MBA in some really good school in the US, and then work there for a little bit, get your green card, get into business. That was the idea. Because I've also seen my cousins coming from the US as a kid. Almost all of my cousins are in the US, and I've fancied a lot of things. Right from the toothbrush that they use, the electric one, to the soaps they carry, and so many fancy things for a kid. When you look at it, you feel like, oh wow, US is the place to be. I think that was sort of instilled in me. And then for various reasons, and I think luckily I didn't go there because I feel like India has so much potential right now, and there's so much you can do here. Closer to home, you'll never feel like an outsider, especially in Chennai or Tamil Nadu. So yeah, that's I'm so I got a little digress, but yeah, I was basically telling I made decisions without thinking too much about it. I just feel like, will I enjoy doing this? Um, I shouldn't ever regret anything that I do. That's my only filter to whatever I do. And I'd probably also say I've never really done anything that I don't like in my life. Out of compulsion, I wouldn't do anything. Like, for example, all of my family members are chartered accountants. I studied BCom. There were so many people around me preparing for their CA exams. I could have easily been like pulled into it, but I always knew it wasn't something for me. Accounts, sitting behind a desk, all those things isn't me. So yeah, I just do things I enjoy. That's my filter.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you graduated, and then what was next?
Yeah, so after graduating in after my undergraduation, I worked with a company called JLL, which is a real estate firm. Again, I did my internship there as when I was doing my college, and I worked with two different companies. One was JLL, and the other one was EY, Ernst and Young. And EY was a lot of hierarchy involved within the organization. You'll never get access to like the person who runs the office. Whereas in JLL, I was part of client calls. I could directly walk into the MD's office and pitch my idea. Those things are all really welcomed. It was a very flat organization, and I really liked that. Um, so I just got into JLL, and also I didn't get into all the fancy jobs in SRCP, which some of my friends got. So yeah, that too.
So you like the freedom they offered?
Absolutely. the freedom they offered, and two, I could come back to Chennai. I got a placement with PwC in management consulting, but that was still in Delhi. I missed the proper authentic நம்ம தோசை போய் சத்தியம்ல படம் பார்க்கறது இல்ல ஏதோ ஒரு தமிழ் சத்தத்தை கேட்டுட்டு இருந்தா இருக்க அந்த ஒரு ஜாய் கம்ஃபர்ட் இல்ல கம்ஃபர்ட் ஜோன்னு சொல்ல மாட்டேன் கம்ஃபர்ட் ஜோனை விட்டு வெளியில வந்ததுனால தான் அங்க போனேன் படிக்க பட் என்னதான் இருந்தாலும் ஐ வாண்டட் டு கம் பேக் எனக்கு அங்க பெருசா பிடிக்கல அதனால I wanted to come back here. And here I joined my job at JLL, and I was basically into capital markets and office leasing, where I networked with a lot of developers. I got to meet a lot of business owners, understood the industry. Real estate is sort of common to every line of work. So you meet business owners from various fields because everybody needs real estate, right? So I think that job was a good eye opener for me. And even if someone wants to get into business, and especially people who are not getting into family businesses and are starting something on their own, I'd say they should work somewhere because for me, working in JLL gave me a lot of insight into how an organization functions, what are the systems and processes which are there, how efficiently people can work, how do you get work out of people. So many intricate details about running a business you can learn as an employee in another organization. Yeah.
So after that,
So yeah, I did that job for a little bit. This was 2019 June when I joined JLL. And then 2020 March COVID. So during COVID, for the first few months, all these calls were online, and I used to chill with my friends the entire day. We'd play cricket and whatnot, and I used to have some mandated clients like Wells Fargo and all of that. Their calls will be towards later evening, so from 5 to 8 alone, I'll do like these video calls and then go back to watching movies, chilling. And I did this for a good 5-6 months. After which I got like really sorry about that. I got really, I was like, what the hell am I doing here? This is not what I signed up for. And these are formative years. I was only 20, 21, I think. Yeah. And I said, this is the time for me to explore, do new things, take risks. So on the side, I wanted to get into some business. And I started exploring various fields. And that's how I landed up wherever I am today.
So you seem to be an extrovert person, are you?
Yes, very much of an extrovert. People often call me a social butterfly.
Okay.
I have absolutely no problem striking a conversation with a stranger.
Okay.
Yes.
So even your jobs revolve around that. No, mostly.
Yeah. If you look at everything that I've done, it involves talking to people, networking, making new friends. Yeah. And so that's how I picked my line of work as well.
So for context, we didn't know each other. So when I first called him, it was like you knew me, and it was like, Hari, I was going to call you. So you're like, yeah.
So one pro tip for everybody watching, I've been told everyone like their name the most. The word we like the most is our name. So when you call people by their names, they really like it.
Just, you were getting, you thought you were getting a little laid back, and you wanted to push yourself and started something new. So
yes.
So what you did after that?
Okay, so before getting into business, I decided I want to do something on the side at least, because again, even though I was still young, the risk appetite, I was contemplating, do I want to do something for a brief period, then again go back to my original plan of preparing for an MBA, go to the US, because if you get yourself into a long-term commitment, then you have to be here, you would be tied down to that. But once I started exploring businesses, I couldn't do justice to this while having that agenda in the head. So started looking at various businesses. Started with food and beverage because that excited me a lot. I had this whole idea of what Rameshwaram Cafe is doing now in Bangalore, or so many new cafes like in Chennai, Shashwata,
We've
different
got Coffee Shastra doing that.
yeah, Coffee Shastra, various guys. So in those lines, the thought was like that. Basically, fast food, but we'll give like idli dosas, sort of an idea. But then that never really took off, and then started looking at other boring businesses like the one I'm doing now. It is a boring
Yeah.
business, but I'll come to it later. Looked at automobile dealerships, and then looking at Kia at that point was sort of a
Yeah.
new entrant in the market. But then one of my friend's fathers, who was in the automobile segment, he said there's more money in servicing cars than selling cars. And if you take up Kia for them to come back to service, you'll anyway give 3 free services
Yeah.
to begin with. So it'll take some time. So then we dropped that. And at that point, I was also trading some stocks, and then I was trading with the JSW Asian Paint stocks, and ended up making some decent money in it.
Yeah.
And then I started reading about the whole industry, and I saw that for the last 65 years, the industry has been growing throughout, about 20 to 23% CAGR, which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And there's so much potential also in the market with real estate booming, so many new constructions coming up. So I thought maybe it will be, worth exploring. Given I was in the real estate field, I had a pre-established network with a lot of developers in Chennai. So I started looking into the business more and more, and then I took JSW brought paints very recently at that point in 2021. Went and met with some JSW executives, and they said if you want to get into paints, you have to be associated with Asian Paints because it's a no-brainer. They are the market leaders. And I thought a competitor himself is telling you should be associated with another brand. So we got into this, and that's how we ended up taking a dealership. And then the dealership, once we tried to sell paints to the developers, they said we only take up turnkey, like we don't buy paints, we only the contractor does this for us. So we'll have to sell to the contractors. And then the margins for just selling paints were peanuts. I just thought anybody could do that.
Yeah.
You just need to sit behind a desk and like sell paints. That's not what I signed up for. Uh, so quickly we realized I want to get into servicing, which is what we do now at RainbowHeight Paints. We are into paint servicing. And then we started taking up more dealerships with other brands like Dulux, now off late Birla Opus. And we started working with the developer segment because that was very easy to get into. Very thin margins, payments are late, all sorts of. I'm not generalizing.
Yeah, okay.
There are some really good paymasters as well, but majority of the industry has like very poor paymasters when it comes to developers. So yeah, this is how I started off with the business. Sort of happened to me than me like deciding
Going
every
behind it,
single thing. Yeah.
So, how do you like to describe the ecosystem that is in the painting industry right now?
Okay, it is a very, very competitive market. It's always similar to the manufacturing industry. You can see that so many new entrants are getting into the paint segment. Birla is the latest entrant, JSW before that. Pidilite has come up with their own brand, and then MRF has paints for a really long time, but water-based emulsions they've been pushing off late. So at least 10, 12 really good players, really strong players, and that sort of reflects in the servicing segment as well. There is very heavy competition, and but I'd say there's always enough and more business for everybody. There are enough clients for everybody. Even if there are 5 new entrants in the next 5 years, there'll still be enough business for everyone. If you are not getting business, it's not because there's heavy competition, it's because you are doing something wrong. Yeah, I strongly believe there's always enough business for everyone in the market. Yeah.
So what do you think about the product development or R&D in this industry? No?
The R&D has been Asian Paints is a company known for R&D. They keep coming up with several new products. Um, and R&D has always been very strong. But to be very honest, R&D is not exactly my strong suit. Whatever products they come up with, we get a minimal understanding of what it is, pitch it to the clients. And then when we try it out in various sites, we realize what is good, what is not good, and then we recommend that to our consumers. But there are, like say, textures is off late, like really taking off, and there are so many new designs that's coming up in textures. And then line coat is something that's again coming into trend. It used to be there in India, like say 25, 30 years ago. Now it's coming back into trend. And these brands are all very quick to adapt, to come up with new products. So yeah, that's been pretty good in this industry.
So the product development here in this industry, is it pushed by the customers or the companies take an initiative and they market it up?
I think when you look at it from an R&D standpoint, the paint manufacturers are not just competing within the industry; they're also competing against a end consumer putting wood on the wall, or putting tile on the wall, or putting marble on the wall. So they need to think of all those things and come up with products. And uh, it is any market, any industry is customer driven. And people might start getting like bored with looking at these regular emulsions on the walls. So you don't innovate, then there's no like keeping up, right? So yeah, I'd say it's a bit of both.
Okay. So what would you like to say are the struggles or the you know, drawbacks or something that's very difficult in this industry to cope up with?
In this industry
Yes,
to
to suit
cope
up.
up, I'd say in this industry, apart from a lot of other things, at the end of the day, it becomes like managing cash flows. What's very challenging is collecting money from consumers. That would apply to the whole construction sector as such. But if you become more conscious about filtering out your clients and all that, you have that addressed to a certain extent. Uh, After that, the other huge challenge is basically managing labor. They're very erratic, they're not educated. You cannot expect them to behave the same way you would with your clients. So the way you answer your clients will have to be in such a way that you keep in mind you have laborers who are erratic and you can't entirely depend on them. So the whole labor management, I'd say, is a difficult piece in the puzzle. And then the next one would be when the volumes are higher, keeping tabs on the quality and ensuring things get done on time. All of those are challenges which come with scale. I'd say the next set of challenges which you'll face once you grow up a little bit in this. So again, I've told myself, a lot of people have asked me or even told me, why did you get into paints? It's typically, if you say painting, they only think of like a painter with a probably a lungi, and there's a stereotype around it. But I'd say it's a very unorganized market, and there's a lot of potential. If we do certain things the right way, there's a huge opportunity. And I think we have been doing certain things right, which is why we've been growing constantly year on year. What's next for us is, like I said in the very beginning, we've started a company called Splash, which is going to focus on premium painting services. And when I say premium, I'm not planning to fleece my clients by just adding the word premium to it. We bring in a lot of qualitative aspects, like say people working with uniforms, we having certain parameters to ensure quality control. We educate clients a certain way. And then just like how, say, when you enter a hotel and you open a toilet, that it's sealed with the paper, you open it, you get that satisfaction, right? Like that in painting, when you see tarpaulins used properly, and when you see the house is neatly cleaned and left, these are huge pain points for people. And it's a painful task to undertake painting, especially repainting homes where you have like furniture and stuff. So all of those things we want to help address. And then the second thing, textures, which I mentioned, is taking off. We've built a large team in the last couple years, about 110 people just for textures. So that's something we plan to capitalize on, establish ourselves as a reliable player for textures. Especially when it comes to volumes, there aren't too many people who can do texture in a 1 lakh square feet area within a stipulated time period. We can do that. So we plan to capitalize on all of this and also target the B2C segment. Um, uh, Even today, my business is predominantly B2B, but the paint industry, if you look at it, 80% is repainting, only 20% is fresh painting. So we also need to change our business where 80% of the revenue comes from repainting, where the margins are better.
So, okay. So, I have a question. If someone has to start a company in this painting industry, what would be the prerequisites?
Okay, I'm probably addressing a lot of intelligent folks, so I don't want to open all my cards in front of you all. But prerequisites, I'd say one, be prepared to like slog. You cannot sit behind a desk and get things done. You have to get your hands dirty. Two, be prepared to deal with people who aren't educated, people who might not react the way you expect them to react, and be prepared to face people where the first thing they want to do is take money out of your pockets, right? Unfortunately, there are a lot of people who are only trying to like fleece you. So you have to be very careful. You have to be very mindful. You have to pick the right people to work with, both clients and laborers who you work with. And then apart from that, just the energy, enthusiasm is sufficient. I don't think it's a very capex heavy business to get into. For us, unfortunately, it was. We didn't know. No one was there to tell me, hey, you don't have to spend so much money to get into this business. We burnt 1.5 crore in the first year because we didn't know how to run things. So we learned it the hard way. We burnt a lot of money. But now, me telling you guys, you don't have to invest so much money. It's easy entry, and then scaling is difficult. Managing labors is difficult, but there are not too many entry barriers to this business.
So, from what you said, having mentors is going to be helpful. So,
Absolutely.
did you have any mentors in your life?
Yeah, I continue to have mentors, and I had mentors in my life. And my Chittappa, that's my mom's younger sister's husband, he lives in the US. His name is Mayappan. Once he went there, his father's name is also Mayappan, so it was Mayappan Mayappan. Now he switched it to Mike Mayappan.
Oh,
I don't think he is someone who likes a lot of attention. So he probably wouldn't be very happy
yeah.
about me talking a lot about him, but I owe it to him to tell you this. At one point, like I mentioned, we burnt a lot of money, and I didn't know what I was going to do. 1 year into the business, all the money my parents gave, we didn't know where it was. And I was thinking of either shutting down the business and doing something else, or I was still like clueless and like not knowing how to go about things because we didn't have any capital left, and we owed money to a lot of these paint manufacturers. What had happened was we scaled up too fast without building the requisite structure in the company, because it was very easy for me to do a sale, like open doors, get projects, but I didn't have the back end to support that growth. So all these laborers, these guys saw an opportunity. They thought, youngster, like 21-year-old, what can he possibly do? So they took money from us and didn't really execute the job, and then a lot of developers didn't pay us for the work we did. So this is how we predominantly lost money. And then my mentors, even my mom has been, she probably wouldn't think she's a mentor, but she has mentored me in several ways. But my Chittappa is the one who told me, hey Sachin, you cannot run away from a house that's burning. It's your home that you built. You need to come out of it smelling like roses. I will never forget these lines because it like got like so ingrained in me. So I told myself that day, this is in fact after one of my cousin's weddings, I just sat down and started crying, and I told my mom, Amma, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. We lost all the money you gave. Until that point, my mom didn't know anything. So suddenly one day I'm just telling her, we don't have any money left. What am I supposed to do? And then my mom said, hey, this is still a mess we can get you out of, thankfully. So we'll either pay off the people you need to pay, or you've learned so many things in the last 1 year by making so many mistakes. So now I won't invest more money. If you want to wrap it up, we'll pay the people you need to pay off and you can get out of it, and then figure out what to do. Maybe do an MBA, go to the US. Or you take a loan, you be responsible for it, and fix things. So that's what I did. We went back, took another loan from HDFC. Based on the business we had in the pipeline, they were kind enough to give a collateral free loan, and we resumed the business. And then I went and met with my partners, basically the manufacturers like Asian, Dulux, Nippon. And I told these guys, hey guys, I'm broke. I need a good year to pay you guys back. Mine is an LLP. So there isn't much you can do legally, even if I did run away. But I don't intend to. That's not what I want to do. I want to pay you guys back, but I need time for it. I am going to continue to be in this business. Just give me enough time and I'll pay you guys back. They were kind enough to do that. And then all of my clients were also kind enough to give us more projects, because luckily we never spoiled our name with the clients. We got the job done, whatever we had to, even though we had problems in the back end. So that's how we resumed. And I basically told myself, okay, in India, everybody is just trying to take money out of my pocket. I'll pay all of these people back. And meanwhile, I'll also prepare for my MBA. And then once I'm done with all of this, I'll just leave to the US. So I used to study GMAT on the side. I even took up the GMAT exam, got decent scores, prepared for the, like, I started writing my essays to apply to schools in the US. And then in that second year, the business had really bounced back. We paid everybody back. And this was all when I gave it only, like, say, 50% of my time. So then I thought, this business has come back up so well without me giving my 100% to it. It's only fair if I give it my 100% for at least a year. And then I will decide what I want to do. Anyway, my GMAT scores are valid for like 5 years. So that's how I continued for a year. And then that year was phenomenal. And then we continued to grow. So then I decided, okay, there's so much for us to do in India itself. We'll not go to the US anymore. Yeah, this is the
I
journey.
think we talked about your business.
Yeah.
If someone has to start a business, starting is easy. You can start it, but really building the ground from the ground,
Absolutely. Yeah.
with a strong foundation.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is needed, or what is necessary?
Right. So I'd say certain things are very, very important. The first one being, you can never make the same mistake twice. Make 1,000 new mistakes, and that's okay, because you'll always end up learning something out of it. But be sure that you don't make the same mistake twice. And then even starting businesses, I would say boring businesses are businesses that make money. So don't shy away from starting a very conventional business. You can bring your own flavor to it and make it more interesting. But once you start a business, you are bound to make mistakes, especially new businesses. If you started it yourself, you're not like taking over from someone, or you don't have any industry knowledge. Um, I just say keep at it, and always build a good back end team. Without a team, you cannot really execute anything, because you can't be the only one running around to do things. You need to have reliable, trusted employees who will, build the company for you. And I've been told, and I keep telling people, if you take care of your employees, then your employees will take care of you and your company. So what I do best is I take great care of my employees, and they always come back and do a little more than 100% to return that favor to me. And I'd also say track certain important parameters in businesses. That's how you know you're headed in the right direction. It's always nice to have a huge like top line, but top line is just vanity. It doesn't convert to real money in the pocket. I would say even profits, bottom line on the books doesn't really. That's for your sanity, but the reality is cash. How much money are you having in the pocket or in your bank accounts? So I'd say monitor cash flows. Cash flows are super important for any business, and the crux of every business is the same. You might sell some product, you might sell some service, it could be anything, but the crux of any business is the same. So, when you learn certain things, running a business, building a business, you will always be able to implement it for the next one. So be sure to go to other business owners and ask them before making important decisions, especially if it involves like capex. You're gonna invest a lot of money into it. Then you need to run it by a few people. Make sure you're putting money in the right place. Always try to understand how long it's gonna take to break even. It's a very largely used term, but no one really has a clear idea as to how long it will take to like break even in a business. And another thing is margins. Margins are very important. Don't take up businesses where margins are like wafer thin. Then you are working for someone else, right? Like for example, the reason I took up servicing and not selling paints as a dealer is because there's like 3-4% margins. And I end up working for Asian Paints or Dulux, and that's not what I want to be doing. So I'd say look at your margins. And then next, look at the like potential in that industry. No point getting into industries where it's a sunset industry, meaning it won't exist 10 years from now or it won't exist 5 years from now. It needs to have at least a 15-20 year runway. That way you can like scale and do something meaningful in that particular industry. And next, I'd say be consistent. Bursts of energy isn't good for an entrepreneur. Consistency is. You can feel all energetic, enthusiastic, and say, "Hey, I'm going to build a fantastic business," and then you start it off, and then you go after like partying and traveling and stuff. Then your business will sink, right? You need to be consistent at it, and at the same time enjoy building it. Only then you'll be able to do it in a sustainable way. If you burn out and you keep doing things you don't like, there will be a point where you would have reached your saturation point and you'll say, enough is enough, I don't want to do this anymore. So it's important to have fun while building businesses. I've had like a fantastic time building business, and every time someone asks me, for how long do you work in a week, the honest answer is I don't know, because for me work doesn't feel like work. A lot of people do say this, but how much do they mean it? Work shouldn't feel like work. That's when you don't really think, okay, I have to go back into work this day, I have to go back into work that day. Or Mondays don't feel like Mondays when you start doing things you really like. And when all of these things fall in the right place, then after that, it's all about bringing in systems, processes, looking at great practices across other companies, having right partners to work with. When I say partners, it doesn't just mean channel partners or doesn't just mean like clients. You can work with other business owners who you could possibly collaborate with. A good support structure is very important. It doesn't matter if there isn't one when you start off, but be sure to build a support structure so that tomorrow, when you need support, advice, guidance, they'll always be there to give it to you. In those aspects, things like NCC and all have been phenomenal for us. I've been able to access people easily. For example, Shiva Anna, who runs Srishti Builders, or Chidambaram Anna, who runs ARR, they've all been great clients. At the same time, very good well wishers who've always looked out for me and said, hey, maybe change this about the company, change that about the company. And these small things consistently being done is what adds up, and then you end up building a really good company. But definitely have a vision and then back it up with a plan, and then the plan has to be consistently tracked, say week on week. I think that will help you build a solid company. I'm in the process of building one. Hopefully, I'll get there someday.
Yeah, sure. We talked about everything now: school, college, teenage years, and then
Yes.
choosing what you want to do, what you are doing right now. So, we also talked about struggles. So, if there's one ultimate goal for you, what would that be?
My ultimate goal in life has always been to be happy and have peace of mind. I think very honestly, even if you do accomplish certain things, it fades away. But I think peace and happiness is a more constant thing. And if you like want that in life, then whatever you do, you'll be able to enjoy it. So my ultimate goal is to be peaceful.
So it has changed from being the richest man in the world to having peace, just minding my own business.
Absolutely. Am I getting old now?
So that was it, guys. So it was wonderful talking with you, Sachin.
Thank
So
you.
was it a great time? You had a great time.
Yeah. I sort of like myself a lot, so I
Okay.
like talking about the things I do as well.
No.
So yeah, thanks
No,
for
it was
having me here.
it was quite easy for me because you are an extrovert. You just keep talking and all. So you kept the ship going.
I hope it wasn't like a monologue,
No,
but
no.
yeah.
Okay. So it was nice. So
Awesome.
thank you guys for watching.
Thank you.